This is about lives. We're trying to save lives here and get people out of that avalanche.
Tragedy in the backcountry once again. A group of 8 skiers went out to enjoy the snow this weekend when an avalanche was triggered. 4 of them survived. Sadly, the other 4 did not make it.
The deadly slide happened in the Alexander Basin area of Mill Creek Canyon. This accident among Utah's deadliest avalanches in history. We've got team coverage for you tonight right here on Fox 13 News at 9. Meteorologist Breck Bolton looking at current conditions, and Lauren Steinbrecher taking a deeper dive at how this year has been more than concerning for avalanches.
But we begin with Spencer Joseph, who has been on this story for us since it broke earlier today. Spencer, walk us through today's events.
And really, this entire day has involved several hundred search and rescue crews, firefighters, police officers, everybody in the air. It really was a massive effort. Now, Fox 13 has combed through all of their communications today between each other, and you're going to hear that in just a moment. But really, it was a mix of emotions for everybody in Mill Creek Canyon today, as 4 survived and 4 did not in one of Utah's deadliest ever avalanches.
We've got most everybody.
From the ground and from the air, it was all hands on deck from the moment that an avalanche trapped several people in Mill Creek Canyon.
Individuals said that there were 2 parties, 8 total.
What was at first thought to be 5 skiers.
We received a call this morning about 11:40. Very little information. Initially, what we heard was 5 people trapped in an avalanche.
Was then up to 8 as rescuers got there.
Is everybody accounted for? Are there any buried?
Negative. They have been unburied.
4 of them losing their lives, the other 4 miraculously surviving, with only one of them needing fast medical attention.
You have one individual that's hypothermic, very cold.
But the rescue of those 4 wasn't going to be easy.
Conditions have been too unstable for any helicopters to be able to land.
If it looks sketchy, then don't do it.
So everything's had to be done by hoist. They hoisted in rescuers earlier, and that's how those rescuers got there, as well as some that hiked in.
Hoisting teams in, hoisting victims out.
One by one, those alive were hoisted down, walking away under their own power. Police say every one of them was wearing an avalanche beacon and having proper equipment.
Sounds like people who pretty much knew what they were doing and knew what to expect, which is a good thing. But the unfortunate thing is that they lost some friends.
But after the 4 survivors, the operation became a recovery of the 4 bodies.
Whether or not we're able to get to those deceased tonight or not, it depends a lot on conditions.
And making sure there's no one else missing.
There were rescuers up there checking to be sure that we had everyone out of there. As we bring these other people down, being able to talk to them and know exactly who was up there and what they saw.
As crews work into the night, there were mixed emotions for everyone involved, as 4 people rescued alive and 4 perished in another deadly Utah avalanche.
I mean, we always hope that when we do a rescue that it's going to be good news at the end of it.
So let's talk about where we are right now. We know that the DPS helicopter stopped flying just about sunset. We are not actually sure if they were able to get all of those bodies off of the mountainside. However, we do know that there are continuing efforts just to make sure that there's no one else buried underneath this avalanche, and making sure that they've gotten everybody out, and of course the recovery of those 4 bodies in just what is a very, very devastating day for those 4 families. Live in Mill Creek, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Thanks so much, Spencer. Governor Spencer Cox tweeting out his sympathies for the victims in today's tragedy, saying, quote, "We are grateful to the first responders and others who engaged in this rescue and recovery effort. With avalanche danger high right now, please exercise extreme caution."
Salt Lake County Mayor Jenny Wilson also releasing a statement saying, in part, "We are heartbroken over the tragic news of 4 fatalities as the result of an avalanche in the Mill Creek Canyon area this afternoon. We deeply mourn the loss of life due to this devastating incident."
Well, we're just weeks into 2021, and already it has been a tough year so far, with 6 deaths from these slides, 5 in the last week alone.
Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher continuing our team coverage tonight, live outside of the Utah Avalanche Center, to explain what's making this season so dangerous in the backcountry. Lauren.
Yeah, Brian and Amy, this really has been a concerning season when it comes to the backcountry. And the Utah Avalanche Center has said that they've seen many slides outside of the one that we saw today, that deadly one, many slides over the past few days. And they say conditions are not going to get any better.
On Saturday, another sign of the danger sitting in Utah's backcountry.
It's super tragic. I mean, this breaks my heart.
A sign of devastation. A sign that this season is setting up to be potentially one of the deadliest in the state's history.
We are certainly on par to eclipse any other avalanche fatality month that we've ever seen here in Utah.
6 people have died in avalanches in Utah so far this winter, 4 of them on Saturday up Mill Creek Canyon.
Many of these avalanches that we've seen, they're probably very similar to this one, are anywhere from 2 to 5 feet deep, 200 feet wide to 500 feet wide.
Last weekend, a skier in the Square Top area just outside of Park City Mountain Canyon's village boundaries was buried after triggering a slide with another person. In early January, another avalanche just outside Park City Mountain Resort in the Dutch Draw area trapped and killed a snowboarder.
It's really one of the weakest and most dangerous snowpacks we've seen in quite some time.
The Utah Avalanche Center says the dry winter has left the mountains without their usual deep, robust snowpack. Every storm that comes in, they say, is falling on top of a base stacked like a house of cards.
So they're taking out the entire season snowpack. They're snapping trees. I mean, these are devastating events.
The signs of danger will continue.
This situation with our snowpack isn't going to heal anytime soon.
Which is why they recommend keeping to gentle terrain, no steep slopes, or staying out of the backcountry altogether.
Now, just to give you an idea of how dangerous this season has been, last winter we only had 2 people die in avalanches compared to the 6 now. And the Utah Avalanche Center says that one of the deadliest seasons they have seen was back in the 2004-2005 winter when 8 people were killed in slides. Live in Salt Lake City, Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Lauren, thank you. Continuing our team coverage tonight with meteorologist Breck Bolton. Breck, anything else heading our way that could impact these conditions or the potential for avalanche danger?
Well, we know moving forward that we do have this persistent weak layer. So anytime we add additional snow, especially the amount of snow that we've been receiving here over the past week, it's going to be a concern. Now, how much snow are we talking about? Let's just review as we look over the past 8 days what we've received, like up at Alta, where as you look again, last weekend we got 17 inches of snow, adding on another 2. Not much activity at the beginning of the week, but as we tailed off towards the end of the week, an additional, as you can see, 33 inches of snow. So for the whole 8 days, they picked up over 4 feet of snow. That is wet, heavy snow on a persistent weak layer. You can see the big concern as we are still holding on to an avalanche warning across the mountains of northern Utah, including as we looked at through Mill Creek Canyon, looking at some of the Wasatch Mountains, moving through Salt Lake, Morgan into portions of Summit County as well. And that'll be in effect until tomorrow morning. The question will be, as they do assess the situation come tomorrow morning, if they need to extend that warning, where as they put that warning in place this morning, the recommendation, and it was a strong recommendation, that you just avoid the backcountry for now. Allow that time for that snow to settle, but really even moving forward, it's going to be a heightened concern situation. Now, as we look across northern Utah, we've been holding on to some clouds, extreme northern Utah, with just a few light snow showers as you look through Logan Canyon, with maybe potentially picking up another inch or 2. That's still definitely been an area of high concern as it pertains to the avalanches. So your forecast for tonight for the Wasatch Front, we're not worried about snow. We're going to be holding on to a break now from the storms here as we move throughout the weekend. But we do have a storm that we need to talk about. We'll show you that storm and then a 7-day forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thanks so much, Breck. Also coming up, it was quite a mess in parts of the Salt Lake and Tooele Valleys this weekend. Dirty snow seen all over the place. Hear what's behind it and the big lines today at the local car washes to clean it all up.
Almost a year into the pandemic, there's a bit of promising news for America's battle with COVID-19. In New York, I'm Alex Hogan. I'll have that story coming up.
And don't call it a comeback. Fan X is looking to make 2021 a big year. hear what the people behind the convention have in store and what they're planning to do to keep everyone safe when we come back. Thanks for joining us tonight. Now to a developing story. An investigation is underway after 2 Ogden police officers shot and killed a suspect late last night. Ogden police say just before midnight, officers were chasing after a suspect in a stolen vehicle who is also involved in a reported aggravated robbery and a sexual assault. Investigators say the suspect pointed a gun at officers before they were shot. Neither officer was hit. They're both on administrative leave. Ogden police will release more details tomorrow, and we will have an update tomorrow for you on Fox 13 News live at 5.
A lot of heavy news we're sharing with you tonight, but a little good news now. The Emory County Sheriff's Office with an update that a possibly endangered missing man has now been found safe. 34-year-old Justin Allred from Farron went missing on Wednesday. His cell phone pinged near Schofield Reservoir that night. Family members shared relief online and thanked those who helped in the search. Officials said details of his rescue would be shared shortly.
Now to COVID-19 here in the state of Utah. The state health department reporting 1,200 new COVID-19 cases in our state, bringing the statewide total to just under 354,000. Our weekly positivity rate now sitting around 16%. ICU beds in our state are at 80% capacity.
5 more Utahns have died from COVID-19, according to today's report. The victims were identified from Millard, Salt Lake, Tooele, Uinta, and Weber counties. 1,733 Utahns have died from the virus so far.
Almost 305,000 Utahns have received the first dose of the COVID-19 vaccine, while just under 100,000 Utahns have received their recommended second dose. Nationally, our nation may be turning the corner in its fight against COVID-19.
As Fox's Alex Hogan reports, health experts say we may soon see a slight decline in the death rate.
The United States may soon start making some progress in the battle against the coronavirus. The CDC says deaths from COVID-19 may start dropping a bit beginning next week. According to the agency, COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations are not rising as dramatically as they had been, and that's because the holidays are now behind us.
I anticipate as our hospitalizations start coming down, and they have been, that somewhere next week, perhaps the week after, we will start seeing deaths come down.
More than 26 million Americans have already had the virus. It's taken the lives of more than 459,000 people domestically. The rush to administer vaccines met with more concern over the spread of more highly transmissible variants of the virus. Nationwide, minorities are significantly under-vaccinated and disproportionately harder hit by COVID-19. New York City turning Yankee Stadium in the Bronx into a mega center for COVID vaccinations. Of the city's boroughs, the Bronx has the highest percentage of positive COVID-19 cases. This massive vaccination center is hoping to address the growing disparity between who has access to the vaccine. Appointments for the shots can only be made online. There are 15,000 slots available each week. The next available ones are not until next weekend. Governor Andrew Cuomo was urging residents to make an appointment, addressing the uncertainty around the vaccine itself.
They're skeptical, they're cynical about the vaccine, and they're not willing to take it.
While vaccinations are ramping up, medical experts warn that Super Bowl celebrations this weekend could lead to another surge. In New York, Alex Hogan, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Today, a big boost for Utah's Pacific Islander community in the fight against COVID-19. Volunteers from several groups administered COVID-19 vaccines to Pacific Islanders ages 70 and older at Mana Academy Charter School in West Valley City. People could pre-register, or they could just drive up on site, wait in line, and get their shot.
This is a big deal for us. You know, we've been one of the communities that's been hardest hit by COVID-19. We have the highest COVID infection rate in the state of Utah. And so to be able to get our seniors, 70 years and older, in through this line and for them to get the vaccine really means a lot for our community.
If you missed the clinic today, the Utah Health Coalition will hold similar clinics the next 2 Saturdays.
Are you ready to think ahead to something big off in the future? Well, the FanX Pop Culture Convention is looking to make its big return to the Salt Palace Convention Center this September. FanX, like many things, had to cancel its events last year due to COVID-19, but now their plans for a 3-day convention are full steam ahead in anticipation of this vaccine becoming more widespread. The people behind FanX say they will be as flexible as needed to ensure people's safety.
It could be, masks may just be a suggestion, not a requirement. It all depends on what's happening after the vaccine takes effect. If we see, nearly 0 cases happening with COVID at the time, then I think we can be a lot looser.
Among the guests already announced for this convention so far, the big headliners include Alan Ritchson from the HBO Max series Titans, as well as Martin Kove and William Zabka from the Netflix series Cobra Kai, some of that filmed right here in Utah. Tickets are available now at a discounted price. We can link you over there from our website, fox13now.com.
Well, did you see this in your neighborhood or did you just see it on social media? A lot of people in Salt Lake and Tooele Valley spending part of their day washing yesterday's snow and dirt off of their vehicles. Meteorologists with the National Weather Service believe yesterday's dirty snow was caused by dirt being picked up from strong northwest winds with gusts over 40 miles per hour out across the northwest deserts and the salt flats. This morning's rush to wash off the dirt created some long lines at car washes all over the Wasatch Front.
It's too crazy over here. Everybody got to get their car washed. I can come anytime.
Not a bad day to do so if you wanted to wait in line. National Weather Service also says, don't worry, this dirty snow phenomenon is not dangerous for your health or even better, your vehicle.
Even better, huh?
Even better. Well, everyone was so concerned yesterday. I didn't physically see it until I went on social media and scrolled through.
And I've been surprised by the calls that have been coming into our newsroom. So it is a thing. Hey, it was a good day for all of us to wash your car today, Breck. It was a gorgeous day.
Really a nice day out there. Plenty of sunshine, temperatures above normal. Yeah, getting a break from the storms. As I mentioned, for the weekend, you're good to go. So washing your car, if you did that today, you're going to keep it clean, at least for a few days. We'll tell you when. The potential, though, that you might get it dirty again with an approaching storm. Let's highlight, though, a photo coming in from a viewer. This is Karen in Tooele County, highlighting just some cool features from some afternoon clouds. She thought they were lenticularis clouds there, where you can see off in the distance. That's definitely a possibility. All in all, though, it was a partly cloudy day. We had plenty of blue sky. And as I mentioned, those temperatures were the official high today in Salt Lake City, 49 degrees. Highs almost 10 degrees above normal. And that's where we're sticking right now. Moving ahead, actually it looks to be a little bit warmer heading into your Sunday forecast. Looking across the state for your high temperatures today, we made it all the way up in the low to mid 50s from Delta through Cedar City. 60s though, as you look in St. George, we did get out of the 30s in Vernal, making it up to 40 degrees. We topped off at 33 degrees though, as you can see in Evanston. Still holding on to some mild temperatures. How about in Ogden right now? At this hour, you're 47 degrees. The flow out of the south there, winds anywhere between 5 to 10 miles per hour. Winds don't look to be much of a factor here in the overnight hours, and we're going to keep it dry. Looking ahead, that extension of a break from the storms. As we start the work week off, no concerns. We'll hold on to these mild temperatures. We start to bring in some clouds by the middle of the week. That could produce a light mountain shower, but the valleys do stay dry up until about Thursday. Then we're going to be looking at our next storm. So at least for the weekend, next 48 hours, as far as additional snow that might have an impact on the avalanche situation, we're not going to see much activity. For the next 24 hours, maybe a few light snow showers, Uinta Mountains over towards Logan Canyon, and that's about it. Yes, we get to kind of breathe here, a sigh of relief, as we're not expecting to see much activity that could impact the traveling here throughout the weekend into your work week. So looking at across the state, as we're seeing mostly clear skies, again, some clouds hanging around extreme northern Utah. We are seeing, as I mentioned, a few light snow showers in Logan Canyon. But as we look ahead north of the jet stream, we've got the moisture, we've got the storms avoiding the state, except some could spill over just a little bit near the Utah-Idaho border, southwest Wyoming, but for the Wasatch Front and then further south, it's just going to be another spectacular day. A lot of sunshine, mild temperatures with high pressure off towards the west. We're going to keep that type of weather pattern going here again as we head up until the middle of the week. So for tonight, we're going to be looking at partly cloudy skies along the Wasatch Front, mostly cloudy skies though, Logan, Box Elder County over towards Bear Lake area, and then southwest Wyoming as well. Temperatures not too bad. about where we were at last night. It's upper 20s to low 30s as we look along the Wasatch Front. Though teens in Park City, mid-20s in Price. Looks like it'll be clear across the south. As we start the day off, you'll see the sunshine. And as I mentioned, especially central and southern Utah, temperatures look to be even warmer than what we found today. Almost 10 degrees above normal, as we'll be in the mid-50s in Cedar City, low 60s in St. George, even seeing some 60s like in Kanab, and near 60 degrees in Moab. We'll be looking at those temperatures once again near 50 degrees as we go from Salt Lake City through Provo. Now for St. George, you got the sunshine tomorrow. Few clouds Monday into Tuesday. We'll call it mostly cloudy skies, but you hang on to the 60s. Now, as we see that approaching storm, late Wednesday into Thursday, for you, it brings some clouds, maybe a raindrop. All in all, you're not going to see much of a chance of those showers. It will be a little bit cooler, though, as we look into Friday and Saturday. So tomorrow, you got the sunshine, you got the mild temperatures. We keep it in the 40s, a little bit cooler on Monday with some clouds Tuesday. Again, Tuesday, we might produce a light mountain shower. Not going to see much in accumulation, but then we get things going with a stronger storm that hits Thursday into Friday, initially bringing some rain and snow and lingering scattered snow showers Friday into Saturday, bringing those temperatures down. But again, for this weekend, it looks to be good with a lot of sunshine.
Thank you, Breck. Still ahead tonight, hear how a local company is seeing a big boost after GameStop's short squeeze on Wall Street. Thanks for joining us tonight. A Utah-based company finding itself right in the middle of the GameStop stock craze.
Yeah, that's been all the rage lately, right? To talk about that, Fox 13's John Franke explains how this local billboard company is an unlikely beneficiary of what happened on Wall Street.
We're democratizing billboards. We want to make them accessible to anyone that wants to be able to put an ad up on that billboard.
Just a week ago, GameStop was the talk of the stock market. Online chatter on Reddit created a buzz, causing the price of the stock to soar.
What are billboards about? They're about brand awareness.
That buzz then shifted here to electronic billboards along highways promoting the Reddit thread that got it all started, Wall Street Bets.
They were trying to promote what they were doing, and they wanted more people to do it.
This is where the Utah company known as Blip comes in.
We have over 1,500, almost 1,600 digital signs across the country.
Andy Gottschalk with Blip says the company allows advertisers to get their message up quickly and without a long-term commitment.
The key here was how easy it was for them to act.
The strategy allowed the Redditors to reach an audience beyond the message board.
It was a very simple message. It was basically, we want to buy more of those stocks that they were trying to push.
Blip, which offers billboard space from coast to coast, says it picked up 4,000 new users just because of this Reddit blitz.
Our business has been growing, dramatically because of that.
While Blip has grown, GameStop stock has fallen back to earth, dropping nearly $300 per share since last week's high. The craze may not have lasted for long-term investors, but it paid off for an age-old method of advertising.
That's some of the impact that, this Wall Street Bets will have. These people that are doing it now know how they can use billboards successfully.
In Salt Lake City, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Ahead in our next half hour, a Utah school criticized over its Black History Month options, what they are allowing parents to do and what's now changed.
Also, a sobering study by BYU about teens and social media, the amount of time they recommend kids spend online and the impact it can make on their lives.
We're following breaking news for you in Kearns right now. Unified Police is responding to what they're calling an officer-involved critical incident. We do have a crew on the way to where officers are meeting with the media to provide some further information. We'll bring you updates as we learn more.
Well, one Utah school received some criticism from the community after they announced parents would be allowed to opt their children out of Black History Month curriculum.
Fox 13's Diego Romo spoke with a parent at the school and the founder of Black Lives Matter Utah about the choice.
Parents at Maria Montessori Academy in North Ogden were sent an email informing them that they would have the option to opt their child out of Black History Month lessons and events that were planned throughout the month of February. Now they're telling us the school is rescinding that offer.
I'm not exactly sure why anyone thought that they had to send out a document saying, I don't want my child to participate in this activity. That's what the document says.
Jamie's daughter has been a student at Maria Montessori Academy for 7 years.
And this is the first year that anything has ever been discussed about Black History Month.
Lex Scott, founder of Black Lives Matter Utah, says the decision to allow parents to opt out is appalling.
You can't opt out of Black history. Black history is American history.
In an email sent to parents, the school's director, Micah Hirakawa, says he is deeply saddened and disappointed that parents would opt their children out of Black History Month curriculum, and added that as an Asian American whose great-grandparents were thrown into internment camps, he values teaching students about the, quote, mistreatment, challenges, and obstacles that people of color in our nation have had to endure.
It's just heartbreaking that anyone who runs a school would believe that it is okay in any way, that it is acceptable in any way to try to ban talking about Black history.
Hirakawa was hired to replace the school's former director in April of 2020. Jamie says she believes he has made a genuine effort to include Black History Month lessons as part of the school's curriculum.
I just knew that he was as surprised as I was that probably a lot of families sent in the paperwork to not participate.
Lex says the ability for parents to opt out shouldn't have been an option in the first place.
He needs to learn from this. He needs to apologize and make sure that every child in that school learns about Black history.
Utah law does allow parents to opt their children out of portions of curriculum based on religious beliefs or right of conscience. But a representative with the State Board of Education clarified with Fox 13 that, quote, no student can be waived from state social studies standards, which include a focus on U.S. history, inequality, and race relations. Once again, Jamie Tracy tells me that within the last few hours, the school has sent out an email apologizing for the original opt-out option and has rescinded that offer. And the school's director declined our request for an interview. In Salt Lake City, Diego Romo, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, new tonight at 9, the Logan chapter of Black Lives Matter held an anti-racism vigil this afternoon at the city's courthouse.
The vigil was organized after a family's Black Lives Matter sign was set on fire. Around 200 people attended the event today, including Mario Mathis, who runs the Logan chapter. He claims that police weren't concerned enough when it came to investigating the incident.
And he was just a little too nonchalant. He just didn't act like it was a big deal. So he was talking to the mom, she's here, and he was just talking to her like one of her children dropped their ice cream cone on the sidewalk.
Mathis says he will be meeting with Logan City Police next Friday to discuss the incident.
A new study out of Brigham Young University shows a higher suicide rate among teenage girls as a result of more time spent on social media. BYU researchers examined the social media patterns of mental health of 500 teens over the course of 10 years, and they found a disturbing trend. Interestingly enough, they also found that social media usage had little to no effect on teenage boys. Researchers say parents should not ban social media altogether for teenage girls, as that could leave them unprepared in adulthood. Instead, they suggest parents allow a small amount of time on social media at first and then gradually increase it. Of course, if you or someone you know is struggling, remember there is help out there. You can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK. It's the number there on your screen, 1-800-273-8255. This is free and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Davis County is looking to overhaul the way it helps inmates with medical or mental health issues. The county jail in Farmington has broken ground on a new medical observation unit, and this will replace the jail's current medical wing, which is about 30 years old. It will be able to serve up to 26 people, nearly 4 times the current capacity. The unit is also designed to isolate and treat inmates with infectious diseases such as COVID-19. Construction is expected to be complete by next year.
We've got lots more ahead for you on Fox 13 News at 9. Coming up, 2 unlikely allies teaming up for the sake of Bears Ears National Monument. We're going to explain why 2 lawmakers are setting their differences aside.
The countdown to Super Bowl 55 is on, and so is the security level building, despite the fact that fewer fans, spectators, and people are in Tampa, Florida, all due to the pandemic. I'm Phil Keating in Tampa with the details straight ahead.
Welcome back. Fox 13 News has learned that two lawmakers with very different views on the Bears Ears National Monument are teaming up to back legislation on it.
Ben Winslow was on Capitol Hill for us today and brings us the exclusive story.
A memo obtained by Fox 13 signals a bipartisan effort here on Capitol Hill for a project on the Bears Ears National Monument. Representative Doug Owens is a strong supporter of the Bears Ears National Monument. Representative Phil Lyman is a vocal opponent of it. But the two are teaming up on a bill that will be introduced in the Utah State Legislature to build a visitor center at the Bears Ears National Monument. A memo sent to the House Speaker and obtained by Fox 13 says they'll create a task force inviting all Native American tribes with a stake in Bears Ears to participate. The memo says the bipartisan legislation does not express support for or opposition to the creation of Bears Ears National Monument, nor does it address the ongoing boundary dispute. While Representatives Lyman and Owens maintain opposing personal positions on these questions, they have found common ground from which they can serve their constituents and the interests of all Utahns. As a Republican San Juan County Commissioner, Representative Lyman pushed for Bears Ears to shrink. He still opposes its creation. In his congressional run, the Democratic Representative Owens backed Bears Ears and still wants to see it restored to its original size. But the legislation suggests both acknowledge the monument is here to stay in some form and seeks to help surrounding communities with a visitor center. The memo notes that tourism has already shot up 72% in the area around Bears Ears since the monument was created in 2016. Now, I'm told the legislation will be unveiled on Monday. On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Some more news from Utah's Capitol Hill. The state is closer to getting a new state flag. Utah's State Senate has passed a bill that creates a commission to design a new flag. Now, the current flag has been described as dull or ordinary, some even calling it a state seal on a bedsheet. But it has its supporters. To appease those people, the bill was tweaked to make the current flag the commemorative flag. Now, the bill for a new flag goes to the House for consideration.
All right, this is an issue that we've actually heard from a lot of you about, expired vehicle registrations, because you did not get those reminder postcards in the mail. A state budget cut last year ended the postcard reminders, but that led to a lot of people not renewing. Now the legislature is apparently going to try to fix that.
I got checking into it and I found out, yeah, we had made a mistake. So House Bill 170 is on its way to correct that.
Well, the legislature will appropriate money to bring the postcards back. You can still sign up for email reminders through the State Tax Commission website.
And before we go to break, I want to share another photo coming in from a viewer. This is Scott Taylor up in Farmington Bay, highlighting the gorgeous weather we saw this afternoon. We get another day of this with some mild temperatures, but what does it all change? I'll let you know after the break.
And later in sports, we're getting real close to the Patrick Mahomes-Tom Brady face-off, plus college hoops from Saturday and a rivalry game on the pitch with women's soccer returning, BYU and Utah going at it tonight. The highlights in a bit.
Welcome back. So glad you're joining us tonight on Fox 13 News at 9. The coronavirus pandemic having a big impact on this weekend's Super Bowl in Tampa, Florida. Yeah, the big game this weekend. Of course, there'll be fewer fans in the stands to virtual pregame appearances by the players.
But one thing isn't changing. Security will be high. Fox's Phil Keating is in Tampa with a look at the preparations for the championship game.
Heightened security on land and on the water ahead of this weekend's Super Bowl in Tampa, Florida. Patrols like this with crews from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection began earlier this week in the waters off Tampa. Marine agents patrolling the waterways as part of the security mission for Super Bowl 55. The championship game will be the least attended in NFL history. The National Football League says they want to prevent creating a COVID super spreader event. Fans will be allowed at Raymond James Stadium, but this year cardboard cutouts will outnumber actual humans. The stadium will be 2/3 empty, just about 25,000 fans. Capacity is 75,000. There will be no tailgating.
We also will be distributing a PPE kit to every attendee that comes to the Super Bowl.
Most player appearances will be remote, and masks and social distancing are mandatory. Meanwhile, the NFL says 7,500 vaccinated healthcare workers will be given free tickets to the championship game. It is the league's gift to the frontline workers, thanking them for all their hard work during this pandemic. Brian Gilbert, a healthcare worker at Tampa General Hospital, is among those headed to the game.
To be there with my team, sitting in the stands watching this, it's just going to be amazing. I'm probably not going to have a voice the next day.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are actually the very first team in Super Bowl history to play the big game on their own home turf in their own stadium. The Kansas City Chiefs are planning to take away any perceived home field advantage. They are, by the way, 3-point favorites. In Tampa, Florida, Phil Keating, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, the big story here in the state of Utah today, of course, the avalanche danger and the avalanche we saw in Salt Lake County. There were between 30 and 40 avalanches that were sent in terms of observations to Utah Avalanche Center, Breck. So definitely unstable out there, and people are taking advantage of the fresh snow.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the hard thing. It's so tempting to get hit the backcountry because of all this fresh powder, where in some locations picking up upwards of 3 feet of new snow here over the past 3 days. But again, the warning in place to avoid the backcountry. And of course, we'll give you more of an update as we look towards tomorrow morning. But it was a nice day across the state. Bluebird conditions there. Southern Utah, right at sunset, you see in Moab, not a cloud in the sky, where temperatures in Moab getting close to 60 degrees. We did make it up to the 60s in St. George. Currently, we're at 46 degrees. Clear skies. We're going to keep it clear here tonight throughout most of the state. Wasatch Front, few high clouds rolling through. Extreme northern Utah, mostly cloudy skies with a few light snow showers as you make your way through Logan Canyon. But all in all, as we talked about washing your car, today it was not an issue. Shouldn't be tomorrow or Monday. Now, Tuesday, I'll put a little bit of a yellow dot there in that if you're traveling through the canyons, you might encounter some brief mountain showers, just enough to dirty a car, but really not build up much snowpack here as we look, again, looks like late Monday into Tuesday. But as I mentioned, extreme northern Utah, we've got some clouds. You're seeing a little bit of blue there through Logan Canyon with some light snow, but most of the moisture and the energy of storms north of the state. We've got the influence of this high pressure and mild temperatures as we've got more of a westerly flow, which will allow afternoon highs because we really don't have much of a concern with the inversion to really bump up, as we'll be close to 50 degrees, at least for the Wasatch Front come tomorrow. So taking a look at your forecast as we move through the state tomorrow, expected high in Ogden, 46 degrees, 49 in Salt Lake City. We've got upper 30s in Logan as well as upper 30s in Park City. Now through central and southern Utah, again, it's another sunny day, light winds, temperatures in the mid, even upper 50s as we transition from Cedar City over towards Moab. 63 expected high in St. George. Boy, these temperatures we typically experience as we're looking in the month of March, rather than what we're looking at here beginning the first week of February. So for St. George, we've got the 60s, holding on to those 60s as we go from Monday into Tuesday. Now, Tuesday, we start bringing in some clouds. And then Wednesday, Thursday, partly cloudy skies. Now, we do have a storm that's going to have some impact across northern and central Utah. For St. George, it looks to drop temperatures. Potentially Thursday, you might see a brief raindrop. Again, not a big threat of seeing those showers, but we'll just kind of mention that here looking ahead. Now, for northern Utah, we've got the sunshine tomorrow. It's upper 40s. Monday, we're seeing partly cloudy skies. Temperatures remaining into the 40s, so we're going to keep temperatures mild to start the work week off. We've got those clouds heading in on Tuesday. Again, that could produce a light mountain shower. Wednesday, we're good to go. Thursday, the storm hits. Now, it's not a big one, but it will provide scattered showers, initially a mixture of rain and snow on Thursday, then transitioning as you see those temperatures drop Friday into Saturday, back into the 30s, where we can see some scattered snow showers even heading into the weekend. So we kind of get a mixed bag this week. Definitely feeling more like spring, but winter making a return with not a big storm, but some cooler temperatures as we look towards the end of the week.
Utah State was scheduled to visit Fresno State tonight, but just as our current environment so often does, their game was postponed mere hours before tip-off due to health and safety concerns. The 11-2 Aggies lead the Mountain West and next host Wyoming on Wednesday instead. Big Sky Hoops, including Weber State on a tear. Start with some Montana State, though. Oh, this is nasty. Quick burst, Jabril Bello. The game was tied with 5 minutes left. For the Wildcats ended stronger. Dylan Jones threw that rinse cycle. Then Sigu Saisoho Jawara dials up 3 of his game-high 25, also a career high for the sophomore from Spain. Cody Carlson adding his one and only bucket as Purple wins their 4 straight, not to mention 8 of their last 9.
We've had to win playing different styles. You know you got a pretty good basketball team when you can win when you have to play fast. You got to be able to win when you're going to play slow and it's a half-court game. You got to win these games. It's just a freaking physical grind, and that's what today was.
SUU had little trouble with Division III Benedictine to improve to 10-0 in Cedar City. The T-Birds playing above the rim just as much as below. Harrison Butler a dunk, followed by D. Barnes flying in. In fact, Barnes doing likewise in the second half from the opposite side as 8 different SUU players finished in double figures. Home team by 52. Dixie State shooting for 3 straight in the WAC. Trailblazers with the first bucket. Frank Stain after the steal with Jared Green cleaning up the layup. But it was pretty much all Seattle U after that. Darian Trammell dropping 30 tonight in St. George. The Redhawks piling on late. Aaron Nettles with his own teardrop. 77-56 the final. 2020 denied us a lot of fall sports, including women's soccer and volleyball. These seasons weren't canceled, rather pushed off to the spring, which means that we're getting those now, including a holy war battle on the pitch tonight. A neutral site indoor game out in Harriman. The Cougars, who finished 22-1-2 a season ago, watching Utah find the net early. Brighton's own Hannah Olsen ricochets off the keeper, match square at 1. But when blue rains, blue pours. Cameron Tucker on the loose. Easy rebound poke for Rachel McCarthy. Lady Cougs take the lead, then adding 3 more goals onto that tally. Olivia Smith by herself 5 minutes later. Then to close out the half, the American Fork product, McCarthy with score number 2. 5-1 the final in favor of the Y. Number 1, BYU men's volleyball was upset by UCLA to begin the campaign. The Cougars with another shot at the Bruins today. Mickey Yohannan with the denial to end set 1, and then Brigham Young adding set 2 in style after Davide Gardini pulls out the ace card. In fact, Blue making it a clean sweep. Zach Eschenberg the kill right here. Call it a nice revenge win at the Fieldhouse in Provo. Number 3, Utah Gymnastics looking for their first road win. Let's just say things were working down in Tempe for them. Next, a perfect stick off the vault by Lexi Birch. 9.975. Teammate Abby Paulson with the best beam score, a 9.950 for her, but the all-around went to another sophomore, Miley O'Keefe. Great floor routine as Utah takes out 16th-ranked Arizona State this afternoon. Ute lacrosse on the road at future conference opponent Bellarmine and using a big final quarter to win their first of the season. Jordan Hyde with 4 goals, including the go-ahead. Red up 7-6 and ending the game with 6 of the last 7 scores. The freshman Tyler Bradbury adding a hat trick for the Roadies. 12-7 the final. And the Chiefs have finally touched down in Tampa. Of course, their opponent for Super Bowl 55. The Buccaneers don't have to travel very far, if at all. Kansas City still favored by a field goal. They'll have a major distraction right now after head coach Andy Reid's son and linebackers coach Britt Reid critically injured a child in an auto accident just last night, all after reportedly being under the influence. And former Ute Alex Smith named the NFL's Comeback Player of the Year. Well deserved. We're right back.
Finally tonight, a Cache Valley nonprofit helping brighten the lives of the families they serve.
The Family Place held its annual Princess Party fundraiser at Castle Manor in Hyde Park this morning. This year, due to COVID, it was held outside as a drive-through event instead of indoors like usual. Dozens of volunteers dressed up like princes and princesses to entertain hundreds of people while they could stay nice and warm in their car.
This is amazing. You'll have to walk around and check on kids because they are having the time of their life. A lot of people aren't able to travel and to go and to different places that might have some of these characters, so we're bringing it to Cache Valley.
A lot of smiles out there. The Family Place is dedicated to helping protect families and children in crisis. If you'd like to support them, you can go to our website. We'll link you at fox13now.com.
What a nice celebration. That's so cool.
Yeah, it is really nice. We're so glad you watched Fox 13 News at 9. Don't forget, QuickCast is coming up next.
Have a good night.